Magazine goes into the reasons why women are smarter than men when it comes to finance. Gary Belsky wrote the article. He joins us along with Bridget McCaskill, president of Oppenheimer Management. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Nice to see you. You have just spearheaded a survey that has some pretty interesting results about women's abilities to handle money.
Yes.
What have you found about cultural barriers?
Basically that they're falling. There is no longer any belief either on the part of women or men that this is exclusively a man's domain. And women have got beyond the stage of feeling that a knight is going to come along in shining armor and take all their money worries away from them.
We know better than that by now.
Yes. The other thing that we found, which is very encouraging, is that women have a very high level of confidence in their ability to manage money, and that they recognize that at some stage in their lives they're going to have to do that. And we think that's a very important change in attitude that is a precursor, if you like, to a change in behavior. I think the decade of the 90s will see a dramatic change in the amount of time that women spend managing their own finances. If you like, in the 80s they learned how to make money. In the decade of the 90s they've got to learn how to keep it.
So if we assume now that women are far more comfortable dealing with money, what impact does that all have on couples and the way they relate to joint income?
I think the scene has changed very much from the 50s, from the Lucy scene, that couples now don't seem to fight about money in this sort of stereotypical fashion. We find from the survey that all couples seem to discuss, or 95% of couples discuss major financial decisions before they're made. And we asked a question about, would you rather go to the dentist or discuss finances? And somewhat to our surprise, 75% of people would rather discuss finances than go to the dentist. So there is a lot more consensus, I think. There is no sense of either spouse being concerned that the other one would be involved in the financial decision making. It's really a pretty cooperative effort. What we'd like to see is the women taking a more active role in actually doing the investing.
Gary, let's talk about that for a moment, because you found 5 very interesting characteristics that reinforce the fact that women seem better suited to finance decisions.
Yeah, we spoke with money psychologists and financial planners and stockbrokers around the country, and in discussing this whole issue of who might be smarter about money, they came up with the 5 different characteristics that women possess perhaps in greater abundance than men. They are, and they're all related, women are much quicker to admit ignorance and then to seek help. Women are much more cautious and less impetuous in their investment decisions, and women are much better long-term planners than men. The last one is interesting. The reason why women are more concerned about the future is that they're more worried about it. There's a phenomenon called the bag lady nightmare, where women of all ages, all social classes, all wealth levels are afraid that one day they might end up homeless.
That's a major concern of ours, because the frightening thing is that most women, or too many women, don't think about a financial plan until they're confronted with a crisis. It's either because they're divorced or their spouse has died, and suddenly they have this compounding worry. And we'd love to get women to focus on this long before the crisis comes along, and to start planning for the long term now, and not wait until some traumatic event occurs in their lives.
Are you finding, though, that there are women out there that are not waiting for these traumatic events in their lives to get a grip on the financial picture of the household?
Oh yeah, it's interesting. I was at a friend's wedding this weekend and we were talking about this very subject, and fully half of the women that were there were very much thinking about their personal finances. They were very involved in it. So for every, Dana and Susan that is afraid of money, there's a Jody and Lynn who are very actively involved. They're managing their money, they're making investments. They're doing the things that you have to do to take control now.
Very quickly in closing, what is the best advice you could give to women out there this morning that are feeling less confident about those issues and that really want to get started?
Don't be afraid. Read magazines like Money or the Wall Street Journal. Call a professional, a financial planner, a stockbroker. Get involved quickly. It's not that difficult.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Don't be afraid to ask questions, and make it a priority. Take that first step. Get started. And as Gary says, find some help. You don't have to do this on your own. There are plenty of people who can help.
Anybody can do this.
Bridget and Gary, thank you so much.
Our
Nice
pleasure.
to have you both with us.